Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Curse City. Curse City, the new rotation has come out, so we're going to be talking about how to plan ahead, how to take down Amius and some of the other stages and some of the best champions that we have, some of the options that we have. Just a general strategy on how to tackle it down, how to get ready for the tougher stages in the game. And now, of course, I'm going to be talking about hard mode, but you can apply these same concepts to normal mode if you like. However, the normal rewards, for some reason, are not as good as the hard ones. I mean, they shouldn't be as good, but I think they could be much better. Okay, so let's look at this. So first of all, we're going to talk about Amius. Obviously, the main goal in hard should be to take down Amius. He has maybe the best rewards. You can get the fragments, so you can get a summon and possibly get a mythical champion, or most likely an epic if you have my kind of luck. So yeah, let's take a look here. So in this rotation, the first thing you want to do when you trying to figure out how to tackle down Amius is you need a couple of things. First, you need a high awakened champion. This could be an epic or a legendary, doesn't matter. If they have utility, that will help a lot. But basically, your high awakening champions, you have the least HP out of your team, maybe 10,000 HP less than your next higher HP champion, and a bunch of defense. The higher the awakening, the less defense you need. I recommend something between 3,500 to 4,000 defense, so they can survive the A1 on the second form that ignores defense. So what you want to do is basically look at your champions and see who has high awakenings. You can see in my case I have this 5 champions are my main high awakening champions, and I think Mithrala is a very solid choice. You can't go wrong with her. Any late game player that might be doing Amius is probably going to have Mithrala 5-star. So definitely a good option. If you're a newer player, you might be looking into some of the epics that you might have at 5 or 6-star. But Mithrala is a great option with Brimstone. She brings the poisons, she brings the cleanse, and she has high resist, so she'll be resisting any debuffs that the boss might throw of you, except the sleep. I believe the sleep is irresistible. I'm not sure, but I think you can resist the sleep. So, but other than that, you can cleanse, you can bring the strengthen, the increased defense, the poisons, you can do damage. And with 5-star Brimstone, I mean, that's pretty much all the damage that you're gonna need. You can bring more, of course, to make the run faster, but you know, it gives you some flexibility. Next up, we are going to be looking for one of the main debuffs. It's going to be heal reduction. Some players might have like really crazy nukers and they can just nuke down the boss. For most, the average player, you're going to be looking into kind of like a slow grind, taking the boss down. So if that's the case, we got to take a look at your heal reduction options. We have a couple of champions. Cold Heart comes to mind. Cold Heart has an A1. It's pretty consistent with the heal reduction. Sometimes you won't get it, but you'll get it a lot of the time. And then you have this Heart Seeker that does a lot of damage. Should be good to take down the boss faster. The only problem with Cold Heart is she is very squishy, so she's very hard to build and you know, get that high accuracy. I think you need 475 accuracy for Amius hard. So you know the stats, she's very stat hungry, especially if you bring her to a high level stage like this. So I would recommend preferably a Venom Mage. If you have a Venom Mage, she will be the best choice, as she brings heal reduction, poison, she can explode, she can activate the poisons. She also brings decreased defense. Decreased attack is very important for the boss, so I think she's best in slot. Another option is Ghostborn. If you have this legendary, applies heal reduction and decreased defense. Also, we have this new champion, Buff the Rancid. If you have him, he has a 2-hitter heal reduction here and increased accuracy in case you need that. So I think that's another option, especially if you have high awakening. Don't be afraid to bring them. But if you have a Venom Mage, I would recommend definitely best in slot. So moving on, next, we one of the things I recommend bringing to this boss is block debuffs. Block debuffs is a very useful skill, especially at the beginning of the match, and when the boss is going to transform back to his first form. Block debuffs will stop that stun and basically give you a chance to, you know, heal up or do more damage to the boss. So I recommend bringing this buff. If you have either two of these options, they are great solid options. Elva and Pythian, they both bring the block debuffs, they both have advantages. Pythian will decrease the damage received for every buff, and Elva has the increased speed, so makes your team go faster and kill the boss faster. So it kind of depends on what you got. You could even bring both of them for more survivability and just take down the boss slowly. So it's a valid option if you have a 5-star Brimstone and Mithrala. Um, if you don't have any of these two champions, it gets more complicated. Madame Seri can steal. If the boss has a buff, she can steal it and bring Black Diva. So it's not very consistent. I think Scathix might be the best in slot, at least for the champions that I have. Basically, he can steal a buff from the enemy, from Amius, and he can also place the block debuff and shield, bring a little bit of survivability. He also puts block damage on himself if he goes on low HP, so that could help him survive. So not a bad option. This guy's a single target, and we have this legendary here that brings a block debuff and increased accuracy. Other than that, not very useful. Could steal a buff as well, but if you have high awakening, I mean, why not, right? As you can see, I have 4 Elvas, so maybe someday I'll empower her once I get my faction guardians complete. So I will probably go with Elva if you have her. If not, Python's a solid choice. If not, you might have to go with Scathix. Hopefully you have him. So that will bring us right here to this team. Probably the team I want to use right here. And then you just consider, do you need more damage? Do you need more healing? For example, this team is fine. I could bring 2 more supports. It'll do just fine if I want to kill the boss quicker. I think Marius is very, very good if you have him. I know he kind of just like came out, so not a lot of people will have him. But this skill right here will put increased accuracy and defense. You can build him at 300 accuracy and then have the A2 just basically. What you can do is when the boss transforms back, or if he steals any buffs from you, this is when you use the skill and basically remove those buffs from the boss, because you don't want to have like any continuous heals or any increased attack on the boss. You definitely want to take that away as soon as possible. So Marius very good for that. All he needs is about 300 accuracy, should be enough to do any debuff, to steal any buffs, and other than that, looking for damage and survivability. And you can use another option is Nishak is also a pretty decent option. You put him in Brimstone, you can put him in 300 accuracy, and basically he just brings bombs and poisons. He also has a decreased attack, so a secondary decreased attack is not a bad idea, especially you want to have that decreased attack on the second form, because the boss just hits pretty hard in that form. So not a bad idea. If you have this combo, I really like this combo because you can put 300 accuracy on Nishak and basically just use the bombs when Marius puts the increased accuracy, and then once that buff goes away, Nishak, his bombs are gonna get resisted, so that way the bar is not gonna be completely filled the whole time. Like he's gonna get resisted when he doesn't have that increased accuracy. So that kind of helps control the bar, and I think this is just one of the fastest way to kill the boss. So I think I'm gonna settle for this team. I'm gonna have to rebuild Mithrala to have less HP than everyone else, but more defense. She should be pretty easy to build, especially with the blessing. So I think this time around, if you have Mithrala 5-star, this should be a pretty easy boss. But if you have any troubles, just leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. If you want to see a video of me taking down the boss or the strategy that I use with this team, just let me know. Obviously not everyone's going to have this team, but there are some obviously good replacements here. Some good replacements, like she is very good, I think, especially High Awaken. I really liked her. I really use her a lot. She actually hits pretty hard. Deity is another good champion. I don't think he decreases any skill cooldown. No, he just gets extra turns, right? So extra turns work really well against the boss, because the boss, it doesn't count against the counter. The only things that affect his counter are skill cooldown, so any skills that decrease this cooldown of skills. But if you could get an extra turn, that doesn't count against it. So that's why Marius is also really good, because he gets an extra turn, but it doesn't affect like the boss mechanics. So yeah, I think this go around we might have an easier time with the boss, especially with these two champions. You have these two champions it should be a pretty easy run. But you know, if you would like to see, if you need any more help with that, just let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to take a look at that. All right, so now that we've looked at Amius and how to basically make your team, let's look at other things. First of all, if you're kind of like a late game player, you still don't have that many champions. You can't, you know, you don't have any champions, for example, here that could take down a very key stage. Let's say a Besaid. You don't have any champions. You might just not be able to do that. But you definitely want to look at the key bosses here and make sure that if you have any good champions that might be able to help with this, that you go ahead and level them up, start leveling them up in champion training events, champion training tournaments. For example, let's say I have this champion right here. I just got this champion at level 4-star, level 1. Then I might consider bringing this champion because, you know, it's pretty good, might help a lot with this stage. So you just want to plan ahead with that. Obviously, these are the options I have. Obviously, she's very good. I would recommend Gala for this boss. I would recommend her. He also brings decreased defense. I really like this fought by the bar, very useful champion. Also has a chance to stun, so it's a useful champion. As far as burns, obviously Geomancer is the main, the best in slot, and it's, you know, besides him, I don't see any other burn champ. So, you know, that might be a little tricky if you don't have him. You might just have to wear the bosses down. Let's look at another boss. I think the other boss is here. You should be able to take down whatever key boss is here. Otherwise, you're not ready for Curse City Hard. Basically, if you can't take down one of these bosses. But let's just go over some of the options for epics. Akentum is a very good champion. She also does decent damage as well. In case you need a nuker, you could use your starter champion if you have no Hane. Royal Guard, Tyrell. This epic should be able to handle this boss just fine. You don't need to have the legendaries, but obviously the legendaries could help. Let's look at the other key boss here that we need to beat to get a key. This is the Spider and the Dragon. These are actually some of the easier bosses to take down. This is the regular Spider, and this is the Hard Dragon. Hard Dragon is the easiest one of the hard bosses. For epics, basically we have what's this guy's name? A miscreated monster. He has the AoE stun, and he also has ally protection, brings a shield. Very good for this boss. This guy can also bring stuns if you want to stun the spiderlings. He's pretty good. If you have decreased speed on the enemy, he might help a lot. Razin's basically a fusion champion. You can get him free to play. If you're a late game player trying to take down on Curse City, you probably have him already. So another decent option. Let's see who else we have here. She's a nice protection champion. Brings a decreased attack, very useful against the dragon. I think she also has a revive. You know, it's ally protection, continuous heal, also useful. Doesn't have to be revived. Melga, I think, is the one that revives. There she is. She's a reviver right here. Shield, continuous heal. So you got pretty much everything here to take down the boss slowly if you have basically just epic champions. Other honorable mentions. She's pretty good ally protection champion, and I think Grizzlejar is a good champion as well with the increased defense and block debuffs for that spiderling. So definitely doable with epics, but you know, late game you probably have one or two of these good champions. I mean, he could probably survive the boss with regeneration set because he brings the block damage. Alright, so after that, so basically you look for any roadblocks that you might have. For example, Scarab King might be a roadblock. Venom Mage, obviously very good because she destroys max HP from the boss with the A1 if they're under a poison. So very good for that. Basically, it just comes down to if you have a Blood Shield accessory for your champions. I know for my Banner Lords, I don't have any Blood Shield accessories. Sometimes you just don't get them. But yeah, basically if you have Blood Shield accessories and maybe a Destroy set or two, just pop a free regear for 1 hour, regear your champions, take the boss down, and any other hard stages you might be having to deal with. Alright, so well, we basically took a quick look at these stages right here. Now let's go over some of the roadblocks that I might have. Basically we're going to be looking at Soulcross here and some of the roadblocks. Some of the harder bosses, and basically how I plan ahead for this. So first, I usually I'm able to clear all of this pretty easy. Maybe I'm missing a champion here or there. Maybe there's a stage that I don't have any champions for, but I usually can get here pretty easy. So first, let's look at the Ice Golem. Ice Golem. I mean, just a quick look here. We have Rhodos and Mithrala, so that should be pretty easy for me. Let's see if there's any other good options. He's decent, but this is a hard boss, so I think he's immune to poisons. You're looking preferably for burners, but I don't see a good burner at first glance. Yeah, I don't see a good burner, so it might be a little bit tricky if you don't have any decent champions. Obviously he can block revive, so if you have a Rhodos, that's a great help. You have Crypt King, who's a burner, but of course he's a legendary, so it could be a little bit tricky if you don't have a burner here, and if you don't have a Rhodos. But other than that, usually these bosses are much easier, so you can just nuke them down as long as you're able to survive. You could put him in a very tanky and just revive everyone in case the boss kills you. Alright, S4, I do have some good options here. She brings the decreased defense, right? Yeah, I've actually been using her, so I'm thinking of getting her to 60. Obviously, if you don't have some of these nukers that I have, you can use Skull Crown. She's actually very useful, very good champion. You can bring a Renegade to decrease skill cooldown. There's mine right here. Let's see what else we have. Whisper, also a pretty good damage dealer. A lot of people have arbiters, so that's a good idea to bring her. So yeah, hopefully you have some good champions for that. Next up, the Iron Twins. Iron Twins is a little trick here because I don't have a lot of support champions. I have this guy support and this guy support. So my plan is basically to just bring nukers and just try to beat the boss as fast as possible. This guy does place a leech, so your nukers can heal off of the leech that you place on the boss. The boss will cleanse eventually, so you want to save the leech attack for the next wave after he cleanses. But basically, the idea is just to nuke the boss as fast as possible, and hopefully that works. If the boss takes you down in the end, you can use his revive. Just make sure you have him tanky enough to revive. If you don't have Mighty Ukon, then you'll have to use one of the other guys that are able to revive. Shadows to this guy. I've been using him as a damage dealer. He sucks, but you know, in some of these stages, he's been proving very useful. Alright, so S6. S6, as you can see, I don't have a lot of options, but one of the things that I've started to plan ahead is, you know, I started leveling this guy up. I saw, okay, I'm gonna need another damage dealer, and I think this guy was the best in slot. This guy doesn't seem that bad either, because he does have an AoE and a weaken and increased defense. They're very similar because they kind of bring like the same thing, like meter fill and increased defense, the 4-turn cooldown. And yeah, I just gotta book this guy up on the next champion training tournament. And we have my boy Cameron. A little fun fact, this guy was the first legendary that I ever got, and I was pretty excited when I got him. I mean, I read this and I thought, how could he be any bad? I mean, look at this skill, it's just so complicated, it has to be good. But you know, it turns out he kind of sucks, so that's too bad. Yeah, I feel like he should be a damage dealer. Like maybe they should buff his multipliers, make him a damage dealer. He seems like he wants to be a support champion, but doesn't bring enough support, right? Block active skills on his A1. Yeah, a little disappointing. But anyways, let's not talk about him. So yeah, this will probably be my team right here, and I just bring a random person. If I really need the support, I can build her. She is another good option to build. And if you're desperate, you can bring this guy. No, I'm just kidding, don't build him. Next up, S7. S7, I do have a couple of options. Obviously, Thylesia is another safe option to 60. She has AoE right here, increases the duration of debuffs, also a chance to debuff spread, and then she has another AoE with decreased defense. Very solid option to have and to level up. Obviously, I already have some champions, so I'm not gonna do that. Lake is another good option. She hits very hard and that has that AoE that increase the cooldowns of all enemy skills, so that's very interesting. One thing I do recommend though, if you ever get Sinisha, if you get two of them, save them. Don't do what I did and plus one her. She's actually in a lot of these stages, and having two of them or more is going to be very useful to take down some of the stages where your options are very limited. So yeah, I would definitely keep at least two copies of her, if not more. So don't ever empower her unless you have a bunch of them. All right, so let's look at S8. S8, we have, I think guy might be one of the best champions for Curse City. Daithi is just increase attack, increase accuracy, decrease defense. I have two of them built, and I already started preparing, and I'm building two more actually. So basically, that's gonna be my team, guys. Just a bunch of deities just taking down the enemies, and now we'll see how that works. I never thought I'd build four of the same champion, but here we are. Other good options, there's actually good options here. We have Sorgala, who has the triple hitter, A3. Puts decreased defense as well. Put the decreased defense on, and she is pretty hard. This guy Hofres is a support, even a support champion. Revives to random allies, fills turn meters, and he also has increased attack, increased accurate rate, and also a chance to stun. So not a bad champion to level up. Let's say I'm having trouble with my four deities. Hey, I might consider taking one out and building a Hofres, just to bring some support to the team. Put him in a bolster set or a shield set, and see how it goes. The reason I didn't build them is because this stage right here over here, guys, S19 actually has kind of like a similar requirements, but you don't see Zorgala here or Hofres. So this is the reason that I've decided to go for another two of this, basically just to take down this stage and try to kind of be efficient with my resources. So that's the reason I didn't level up Sorgala or the other guy. All right, so we were SA. That's going to be our team, and see how that goes. Next up, we had the Sand Devil, and this might be one of the tougher fights in Curse City if you don't have the champions for it. If you did the Ancora fusion, she's going to be very useful. Put her in very tanky regeneration gear, and then you can just basically kind of do like a similar tactic to Waniri and Walk Tomb Drang if you have him. Basically, just revive him, do burn, and then he'll die and rinse and repeat. Revive and burn. You might need to manual it, but yeah, if you don't have him, then you probably need another damage dealer. I don't see any Mordecai being available for use. This guy is obviously pretty good. If you went for Narcissus, maybe you could bring Narcissus. So if you're not, you're gonna just have to do Sinisha or any other damage dealer in the game. This guy puts out some poison, so maybe him. But yeah, definitely not an easy boss. If you don't have, or you could bring a Rector Drath and try the same strategy. Of course, yeah, Rector Drath is actually not that bad. She's 4, so she should be able to kind of like stay alive longer. So yeah, definitely one of the harder bosses in the game. Next up, let's look at S13. S13 is kind of like a damage dealer. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, honestly. I don't know if I'll be able to take it down. I do have 4 champions, and I have this guy right here. So I don't have any support. So this is kind of like you just go in and try to go ham, try to kill the enemies. But if you don't have any of these champions, I mean, Kale is obviously a lot of people started champions. You can use him. Other than that, I don't know if these guys are any good. This guy has an ally attack, so it might be helpful, especially if you have like an AoE 1 like she does. So if you're really desperate, I mean, attack zone is if you're really desperate. I mean, you have options, right? You can bring 2 of these guys and maybe Kale. Your gear has to be really good, right, to be able to pull this off. I don't even know if I can pull this off. All right, let's look at S16. We have conditions of voids, dwarves, elves, and sacred order. Obviously, arbiter is going to be a lot of people's choice. If you have a Godseek and Aniri, very good to bring. If you have a Cardil, very good to bring. Another option you have is Demitha. Demitha with just a very good champion in general, with the block damage, the heals, and whatnot. Let's see what else we have here. And another option is Gala, and this is what I'm gonna try. Basically, I've leveled up 2 Galas, and I'm gonna see if I can basically charge through this stage with my Galas. I will need to skill them up and whatnot. So basically, this is my plan for this team, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, they can carry. As far as decreased defense champions, I could not find any decreased defense except this guy, but this guy kind of sucks, dude. But you know, have decreased defense. I do have him in that blessing that basically you have a chance for your weak decrease for your weak debuffs to turn into the bigger ones, but I haven't found it that great, so we'll see how that goes. And then of course next up we have S14. S14, fortunately for me, I do have some good options. So basically with these, I think I'm pretty much set. But if you don't have any of the legendaries, it might be a little bit tougher. You might have to build a couple of missionaries. This guy is using some of the stages in Sintranos, so you definitely this is not a bad idea to keep one of them. And you know, you might be looking to for a team like this or a team with like two of this or some kind of mix. This is usually what people do. You just level a bunch of epics. I mean, if that's all you have, for example, S19, that's all that I have. You know, that's all you can do. S19 maybe not a good idea, not a good example, but S18, for example, I don't have any legendaries, so you just build epics, right? So yeah, that's pretty much. But I'm pretty much set for this. I mean, this team should not struggle that much with this. But yeah, that's what you say, and then you spend like 1 hour on these stages, right? Let's look at this Fire Knight, because this Fire Knight gives one of the best rewards in the game, which is these 1,000 coins, which you can buy an Eternal Soulstone or some essences, depending on what your goal is and what your strategy is with those. But some of the key champions for this stage, and sometimes you just don't have the champions for this. I mean, I've tried one of these stages before. I just didn't have the champions to take this down. But I think I do this time. Basically, Valkyrie is probably one of the best champions in the game for this. And then we have Skull Crusher. Skull Crusher kind of similar, brings a counter attack on all allies, but he does not place it on himself. So a little bit worse than Valkyrie, but not too much. I mean, it's still pretty good. And then this chick Morag, definitely build 2 of them if you have her. Don't empower her. I'm still waiting to pull the second one so I could build her, but obviously that ally attack is going to be very helpful right here. And she also has AoE right here, and then she has a 2-hitter. Very good. Another good option. I'm really liking this guy. I actually used him in Amius for the last rotation. He brings that this heal reduction right here. So even though the boss is not immune to turn meter, you can put heal reduction. He won't heal up. He also has a 3-hitter on his A1 with the chance of leech, and also has decreased speed, so he's actually a very good option for this boss. I would not sleep on him, so I would probably go something like this. Maybe her maybe her with Relentless. Yeah, with Relentless. She also brings decreased attack. And I don't know, maybe someone that can help me stay alive. One of these support champions might be very helpful with the ally protection continuous heal. Might just help me stay alive and just slowly take the boss down with the counter attacks and whatnot. So I think I should be pretty set, but it really depends on the champions that you have if you're able to take that down. S20, obviously I have good champions for this, but some solid options. I mean, I really like this guy with his AoE stuns, but maybe I'm overhyping him. He also has a chance to provoke. What else do we have? I have Kunoichi, might be a decent option with the ally protection, except herself. She plays Leech and Weaken. Obviously, we talk about Hofferes, another champion that you can use in here. Pretty flexible. Razin should be a free champion if you did these guys were a fusion, so if you did those fusions, solid options as well. I'd probably just go with something simple. I mean, I already have the champions build up. Probably just go with something like this, and just should not have much trouble. I mean, Harry Macanus Rotos, as we all know. Alright, let's see, what do we have next up? We talk about S21. S21 is Voids. Obviously, if you have Marius, and if you have what's his name? Romantu. Romantu is 2 champions that you can get with time. If you have these two guys, obviously best in slot. Another reason that I built two Galas is because of this stage. I mean, she's showing up again, so it seemed like a good idea to build them. You need support champions. You have this Lizard who is part of the Ras infusion. No, he's part of one of those fusions that you can do over and over again, I think. So not a bad idea to build one of these lizards for the revive and increase speed on all allies. If you did build a Scathlix for Amius, you could bring him here again and basic block debuffs, attacks all enemies, puts a decreased speed. Not a bad option to have. Demitha showing up again. Demitha pretty good for this. You could bring a lockout champion, lock out your enemies, and just take them down slowly. I'll probably just go with something like this. And if I need any support, I could probably build a Demitha, or I could build a who was the other guy, or one of these guys, this lizard. So yeah, there's some options. I think I shouldn't have too much trouble with this. S19, this is we already talked a little bit about this. I'm gonna try this strategy, and hopefully that it works. If not, I might need to try something else. Need to take a deeper look at these champions and see if there's any good. Obviously do then. This is one of those weird stages. They're very tough. I think the first wave is usually the hardest one, because he has the Marichka and the Tarazius counterattacking. So you need to build them all in stone skin, and then just kill them as fast as possible before the Tarazius basically kill you. A really tough stage. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to do this, but I'll definitely give it a shot with this. And then I think that's pretty much it. You want to look as well as at these stages and make sure you have. This is really dependent if you have any blessings or not, right? And this is where it's very important to get those souls for your for the fusions. And for example, Mithrala, I think Mithrala shows up a lot on this, and she's just, that's 5 stars right there for a very good champion, very good support champion. Some of the stages that might be harder to get souls or blessings are for this one. I mean, here I'm gonna have to basically use every single ascended champion that I have, which obviously I don't have her leveled up. I might need to level her up and just bring a damage dealer. Hopefully you can just take them down as fast as possible. Otherwise, you might need to 60 both of these champions if you're struggling. Put some bolster or something like that. S24, no, this is D24. D24, I'm looking pretty good here. I have Alika, Sepulture Sentinels, or Gala. Lots of good option, guys. But yeah, I think my voice is dying a little here. One of the other things I want to recommend is for your gear presets. Let me give you an example right here. So on the last Amius rotation, I use this guy, which is Old Crocus, one of my favorite champions right now. Basically, once you beat Amius, you don't want to take the gear. You want to make sure you go ahead and click this button right here and save the preset. Obviously I don't have it right now. Let's see, try it on. Okay, let's say I have this I just beat Amius, and I have all this right now. You don't want to take this off and put it back on your other champion. You want to save the set and just put like Amius set for this guy, and you save it as a champion preset. And then next time that this rotation comes around and you need this guy again, you don't need to, oh, okay, well, I need to rebuild him. Let me go and Hell Hades artifact optimizer, and then let me look this up. Wait a couple of minutes for the builds to load, and then unequip on the other champions. Click on every piece. You don't want to be doing all that. So actually, with the optimizer, you can just click equip and optimizer. That helps a lot. But you don't need to be doing that when you can just save the preset for next time. So remember, if you do a hard stage. Let's say you do Amius, you did it with your five champions, save the presets, and then next time you just go back and it's like, already did this with these sets, I know I can do it, let me just put this back on them. Same for S19. Let's say I go ahead and I build everyone in stone skin, and I managed to beat this the stage. I want to make sure I save all these sets, because I don't want to be trying to equip everyone in stone skin again and trying to go back and whatnot. So yeah, it's a very good idea. As far as the free regears, I would not recommend using one of these free regear rewards on one of the hardest stages. For example, like this one, you could spend 1 hour just regearing, just trying to take down the stage and not be done with it. It might take an hour, 2 hours or more. So I would not use any free regears on these hard stages. If I would use a free regear reward from this, it would be basically to do something like this, like take down this boss, basically equip some blood shields, some destroy gear, and then take it back real quick. This boss is not hard, unless you don't have the champions, but you know, he's really not that hard. It's just kind of like a more annoying, okay, I gotta put blood shields, I gotta put destroy gear on him, and yeah, so you know, that's where you can use that 1 hour re-gear. And maybe you have some stages like this one, you don't have anyone with gear. Oh, I need to equip my Magnar with some HP nuclear gear. So you do that, and you know, you're done with the stage, and it doesn't take a lot of time, right? It doesn't take a lot of time. Um, with Amius, I don't think it'll be too hard, so I think in this instance it will be okay. But if you think it's gonna take you a long time to kind of come up with a team and gear them up, then you might want to wait for the free re-gear event that'll be here in like 2 or 3 weeks. If you think it's gonna take you a long time. Um, but yeah, and you know, you can save your keys, do a free regear, do some of the easier stages that might be a little bit faster. And then, you know, if you have some champions that you want to rebuild, for example, I have Marius that I need to rebuild. So you know, I might use a little bit of that hour basically to do some quick regear and change some gear from a Marius to my Harima and whatnot. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna cut the video. I think we've done a lot of research, and we've looked at some of the harder stages in the game. And yeah, that's basically some of my tips right there. So my tips and tricks. If you guys have any questions, or if you see anything that I might have missed, or if you want me to cover something else, just let me know in the comments, guys. And please like, comment, subscribe to support the channel. If you want to see a video on me taking down Amius, and probably me raging because the dude suddenly nukes someone else than my high star awakening champion, and then I start crying about it, just let me know, and you know, I'll be happy to do a build. If you want me to do a guide on him, I can do that as well. Well, yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Work week coming up Monday again, guys. We got to go back to the grind, but you know, that's life. That's life. All right, guys. Hope you guys had a good one. I'll see you next time.